Hey there, it's Patty Sampson, and I am doing a recording today on how to add a recurring email to an existing drip campaign. Have had a request for that, so I'm going to go ahead and get this going. So you have a setup campaign already. So let's just say you want to add a recurring email to an online lead campaign that you might already have built in here. So you've got all the tasks in your campaign right here. So what we're going to do is add in one more task to this, and it's going to be recurring. So how you do that is you already have to have your template built for it, and when you have the template, I'll just go ahead and come over here to the tasks on this one. We're going to go over the templates just to show you what I'm going to add. I'm going to the template one, and we want to send out a recurring listing email. This is just a real basic one that I just wrote just now, but it's right here. So this particular template I want to send to the consumer every 3 days if it's a buyer. So I'm going to go over to the campaign that I want to add it to. So I go over to the autopilot drip campaigns. Obviously I'm on the marketing tab in case you wonder where I'm at. And then I'm going to go into the campaign that I want to add it to. So I'm going to click on the tasks of that campaign, and I'm going to add a new task to the drip. And I'm going to select an email contact. You could be a text if you wanted it to be. Don't over text people. That's rule number one. But you could be a text that you send recurring if you wanted to. The folder, I know it's in the buyer email folder, so I'm going to go ahead and click that. And it's the last one that I created in here. There's only 2 in here, so I'm going to click that. That's the template that I want to add. And I'm going to, if you have a team, then you probably, well, let me back up. If you have a team and you want to have this assigned over to the new team member in the event you assign the lead to them, then you want to pick out assigned user from that list. And then you would just click on recurring. And we're going to say we want it to go repeat every 3 days. We want it to start, you choose, today, tomorrow, whenever, over the next day or so. And I usually like to send my mail anywhere between 10 and 11 a.m., so I'll just go ahead and pick 10 a.m. And I want it to go out for 2 years as a buyer. It's a new online buyer. I don't know anything about them. I'm not going to assume anything about them, so I'm going to set it up to go out every 3 days. And I'm going to add the task. Now when I do that, you can see down here in the campaign, I now have this one in here that's going to go out every 3 days. So it's going to go in the order that it's, so my first campaign has a couple things go out first, the first few days. Tomorrow this is set up to go out. I'm sorry, I actually set it to go out starting today. And it'll go out every 3 days and at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then the rest of the campaign will go out on top of that. So you've got a whole year's worth of email is going to go, but you'll also have this going out as well for 2 years because of the way I set it up. You could have it go out for 5 years or 10 years. If you're doing a listing, I would send out listing updates for the subdivision every 7 days. If it's a closed buyer, I'm going to send it once a month, give them updates in their subdivision, and I would do it that way for a closed buyer. So you could dump that into a FSBO campaign or something like that. But you know, if you're going to use the same campaign for all of the people, you just got to remember this is for an ad. So this would be like if you're doing an ad in Scottsdale, I would set this up permanently for this, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't put it in here. You could always send it out separately. So if I go out to the contacts, if you wanted to just turn on the campaign and then set that up to go out separate, you could do that. So let me go here and I'll show you how to do that. You basically just go click on email of the consumer that you want to send it out separately to, go to the folder of the email that you want to get, pick out the email you want to send, which is that one, and instead of building it in the campaign, you're actually sending it separate alongside the campaign that you might turn on. So this is going out separate, but instead I'm going to go down and hit recurring, and I'm going to do the exact same thing here. When do I want it to start? It might want to be today. When do I want to send it? 10 or 11 a.m. Somewhere between 10 and 11 is always a good idea. I want it to repeat every 3 days. I want it to, it ends after 245 occurrences, right? I'm sorry, this thing just got a little touchy. 200, okay, back up, 245. Okay, so it's going out about 2 years from today's date, and I'll just schedule that. So now that will go out, and it can be, oops, I got to save it. I want to save it back in there. Schedule the email. and it will just go out every 2 years. Every 3 days, alongside a drip campaign that I might turn on. Now, if I want to find it, if they tell me to stop, I'm going to go over to the communications tab, because it's not going to show up in your drip campaign when you send it separate. So you're going to go to communications, you're going to click on view scheduled emails, and if you have a whole lot in here, you could run a search for the person, whoever it is, but since I only have one in this particular account, it's right here. I can view what I'm sending them from this point, but I can also dump it in the trash. So if I don't want that going out every 3 days anymore, or I want to set up something else, I can do that. So you choose whether or not it makes sense to build it right into the campaign. You might not want to. If you're not getting a ton of leads in that area, don't waste your time building a whole campaign just for that. But if you think you're going to get a lot of leads, then definitely build it up. And you can just take a previous campaign you have and clone it, and just add it to the campaign and save the campaign as a new campaign. So I can just show you quickly how to do that, where you're going to clone the campaign and then add it in if you want to. So I can go, oops, moving a little slow. I think my internet's a little slow. So I could go down here and clone this campaign right here, and clone it, and hit OK. And then now I have two, right? I'm going to take this one and edit the name. And I'm just going to call this Scottsdale online buyer lead. Oopsie, if I could type, that would be great. Hit update. Now I put it up here so it pops up. And if I want to, then in the tasks, I can then add it in here if I wanted to add it. I've already added it here, but now you can just add it. Now you have a separate campaign just for that. If I want to change this and turn it into Mesa, I can remove it right here, and I could add in a whole Mesa campaign, and I could actually change this. If I decide I'm going to go from one city to another, I can just edit this, and now I could edit this, edit the name, and now I want to call it Mesa campaign. I could repurpose it. But just to understand that if I do this, anyone's coming in after this is going to get this campaign in this order. So anybody who's on the previous campaign is still going to get it that way. As long as you don't dump out your templates, it should still go out previous as you originally set it up. But I would say it's safer to just clone the campaign for new ones, new leads or new ads you're doing is usually the safest thing to do. And then when you know the campaign's done, if you decide you're not ever going to market in that area, then you can turn the campaign off. But it certainly doesn't hurt to have more than one campaign in here, having exactly the same things in it, just changing out the city that you're sending listings to, if any of that makes sense. I think so. Just slow down, watch this again. If you don't understand it, just watch it again. I think it'll be pretty clear, and I think that'll do it. So thanks so much for listening. I hope this was a helpful video for you. If you have any questions, get a hold of us at exposedagent.com, and we'll look forward to helping you out if you need anything. Thanks. Have a great day.